and then if we could discuss, I think it will cover even the simpler concept, right? So this is just a general feedback.
I'm sorry, I was speaking from that time. I'm so sorry. So, yes, so what I was telling is, since I will be the one who will be taking tomorrow's session as well, if there is any session, I guess there is a session tomorrow, right? So, what we can do is, like today, we can just summarize the concept of week two. We can do some of the questions from the week two, and tomorrow we can take up some of the difficult questions and discuss those concepts, and we can just, at least from my end, we can wind up like week two content. Okay. So is that okay to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. That's fine then. So you see what is actually given in week two content is something I have written here in the morning. So there is a concept of slope. So it's like a straight line. So you start with the slope. Okay. So this is a concept of slope. Then you have different forms of a straight line. So, there is like general form, slope intercept form, then 2 point form, then point slope form. So these kind of things, then intercept form. Like there are so many ways by which you can make a straight line, or you can get the equation of a straight line. Well, we'll discuss that. Then then what you can do with the two lines if it is given to you, okay? So two lines can either be a parallel, perpendicular, or collinear. So what are the conditions for it to be this, right? Even that we can see, okay? Then fourthly, like what is the distance between 2 points? So it's a direct formula, and I think even the professor has discussed how to derive that. So you can just, if you are, I will not be deriving it here. I'll be just telling you, okay, this is what formula is, and this is how visually it looks like, and this is, so I'll just tell you all that part of the formulas, but to go with the derivation I would suggest to watch the lectures. Okay, then what is the distance of a point from a line? Okay, so this is something we will discuss, and distance between two parallel lines, that is something again we can see what it is. And then we have a sectional formula. So it's basically a line is given which cuts the line, and a point on a line is given which cuts the line on two different ratios. Then how do you actually get the coordinates of that point? Okay, so that's called something sectional formula, which we can discuss that again. Then what is the area of a triangle? And a very important concept called SSE, which is sum squared error. This is something I guess you would have not seen it, but it's like again very easy. And this is very important from your examination point of view, because this is like a small taste of machine learning, in applications in machine learning. Okay, so this is more like you are building a model. So basically not exactly building the model, we'll just give you the model, and based on the data you will be identifying whether this model is correct or not. Okay, or what is the SSE value in fact. So these are the certain things which we are going to discuss in week two. So SSC is very important if you are to ask me. And all these concepts are actually important because you can be asked a question with 4 or 5 options covering each of these concepts. So essentially all the concept becomes important, right? So that's how it is. So essentially this is all you have to do in week two, okay? And so we can just start with a simple concept. So, okay, this session, what we are taking right now, how it's basically designed for, not designed, but it's basically for working professionals, or like those who are from basically non maths or a science background, right? So I assume there are also from students from science as well as maths background. That's perfectly okay. You can be nothing, no problem. But it will be good like if we can go this way, so that that is why those many sessions are actually arranged, so that we cover the larger crowds. And I think because of the same reason there might be so many who would have not joined the session, so that's also it's okay, fine. So this is what we are going to do in week 2, and we'll try to cover all these concepts in a very quick way, okay, so that we don't miss out any things what is given in the week 2, and it becomes easy and handy for you to solve your activity and practice or like tutorial questions, okay. So this is all for this is what topics which we are going to discuss in week 2. So as of now, do you have any doubt or you want to ask me something before I start the thing?
No, no, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So, fine. So, we can just start with our basic concepts, that is slope. Okay. So, what do you really do in slope is, uh, you see, first, before understanding what is slope, you should actually know what is this angle of inclination, and what do you really mean by theta, right? So, these concepts, we can just quickly see what it is. Okay. Let's say I have XY plane. I hope you know what is XY plane, right?
Yes,
Cartesian
sir.
plane. Like all of you at
Yes, sir.
least know what it is, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
this is X and this is Y, okay? So just imagine this X axis is nothing but a ground, okay? Just imagine this is a ground, okay? All right. And let's say I have a log of wood like this, okay? So this is a log of wood is given to me. Let's say it's lying on the ground, okay? So now what do you really mean by angle of inclination is, it's basically how much is this lifted from the ground. Essentially, it means, so if I have to, so this is lying down. So basically, consider, okay, so this is lying down. I say theta is equals to 0, assuming that you don't know what it is, but still, just for time being, think that this theta is equals to 0. And what is this theta? I'll come to this. Okay, now this log of wood is lying down on the ground, then theta is 0, right? Okay, then what more we can do with this? Let's say now this log of wood is no more lying down, but it is lifted by something. Okay, so it's, let's say this has been lifted like this. Okay, so now how do you actually measure how much it is lifted is something this theta tells you, right? So this theta you actually measure from anti-clockwise direction, and this is called as theta. So this theta tells you actually how much is this lifted. How much is this lifted? It not in the terms of height, but by this you can actually find out how much it is lifted. Okay, so this theta is called as angle of inclination. So I hope you got to know. This is called as angle of inclination. Now, what do you really mean by this then? Again, let's visualize this. Basically, let's say a log of wood is there on the ground and you are lifting it up from the other end. As you can see from this end, it has been lifted. But if I have to ask you how much, by what angle of inclination you have lifted it, then it's good to say that, yeah, by this much theta, by 30 degree, or like by 40 degree, or let's say, you know, some 90 degree, right? So that's how you say it, right? So this is what angle of inclination. Now with this concept itself comes, what is the slope? So what is meaning of slope is basically it's change in y upon change in x. Okay, so if I have to ask you, like, if this is, let's consider this as a point, okay, and if I have to ask you, this part is my slope, let's say this is, and this is my point, okay, so let's call this is uh, okay, let's not take this as the point because it becomes difficult for me to derive, I mean come to the main point. So let's say this is the point, okay, so and this point is denoted as, now you know that in any point on a xy plane can be denoted by x1, I mean x comma y, by the coordinates, right? So let's say this point denotes x1 comma y1. Let's say it's some point, okay, and this is another point which is represented as x2 comma y2, right? Now if I have to ask you how much has been this lifted, so how much is this lifted? So basically there is one formula, it's called tan theta, okay? So tan theta is nothing but it's change in y. Now look at this part. What is y value over here? Over here, what is the y value? Y1, right? All of you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
And what is y
Yes.
value over here?
X
I
Y2.
by
do.
2.
Y2. So now what is this y2 by y2 minus y1 will give you what? This height,
Yes, sir.
right? If I have to subtract this y2 from this y1, I will get this height, correct? Because this indicates the y coordinate. I mean the the second coordinate for this. So essentially this tan theta is nothing but y2 minus y1, essentially this height by this height. Okay. So now if I have not height essentially, but the distance you can see. So now you can see this, what will be the distance of this? Now note that this is x2, correct? Because this is
Yeah.
x2, so this is also x2. And what
Mm.
about this one? This is x1 then. So if I have to find out this distance, how much is the distance? x2 minus x1?
Extra. Yes.
Okay. So now this part actually gives me tan theta. Now you see what am I trying to do here is basically I'm trying to find out this theta in terms of x and y. Like if there are any 2 points which is given, then how do I actually find out theta? So if you are to ask me what is theta, then there is one way of saying this is tan inverse of, let's say this y2 minus y1 is, I am telling this as delta y, which is change in y, and delta x, which is change in yeah, delta x, which is change in x value. So this, don't get confused and do not worry about these symbols which I am using it here, that is tan inverse or something. You're not going to find out anything, but you just have to know what it is. That's it. So if I have to find out what is theta, then you actually do tan inverse of dy by dx. So what I meant to say here was you can actually find out theta, okay, when these values, when only 2 points are given for me. Okay, you can actually find out what is theta, right? So if now if you have to just simply think of it, like okay, if the log of wood is given and if I have to say that one person is standing, one person who is holding this other log of wood is at this coordinate, and the ground at which it is there, the coordinate is this thing. Okay, so now if that is the case, then how, what is the theta or what is the angle of inclination? So you should be able to answer this, right? So it's like that. So don't worry if those who are like who already know these concepts might sounds a bit drag, but trust me, as we go far, you will you will take something from me. Okay, you will have some input. I mean, you will have some learning from me. So don't worry, even if you know this concept, just bear with me for some time.
Sir,
Okay.
if we say tan theta is difference between the coordinates, is it correct?
You can say that. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. So now if a quick question to here itself. Now we understood what is tan theta, right? So now if I have to tell you, if this is, let's say, now the same thing, let's say here there was an, I'll erase the other parts now, okay? And so that it becomes easy to show. So a quick question, you can simply solve it and make a habit when we are taking a session. Just be ready with the pen and paper and try to solve the questions. Okay. Now let's say this point, a person who was standing here, who maybe you know some person whoever he was, and he is holding this log of wood over here, and let's say this coordinate is 3 comma 3. Okay, and this part of the other end is at, let's say, 1 comma 0. Okay, now I have to ask you what is theta. Then could somebody tell me what is theta?
3 by 2.
2, 3.
2 comma 3.
3 minus 0 upon
Three
Basically
comma
just
1.
tell me what is
3
tan
3
theta
comma
by
two.
first.
2.
What is
3
tan
by
theta?
2.
3 by 2.
3 by 2.
3 by
3
2.
by 2.
Okay, all right, all right. So let's see this. Let's understand this, how it is happening. So if you want to solve this, how do we do? Let's say this is x2, this is y2, and let's
By
say this
2.
is x1, and this is
So
y1.
by 1.
Okay, so y2 minus y1 is what this tan theta tells us. So what is y2? 3. And what is
3,
y1? 0,
1, 0.
0, 0. What about x2? 3.
3
And what about x1?
minus 1. Minus
Minus
1.
1. So this gives you what? 3 by
3 by
2.
2.
So tan theta is 3 by 2. So if I have to ask you what is theta, so you can just simply say tan inverse of 3 by 2. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. Okay. All of you clear with this?
Yes.
So now just to keep something in hand and just to know some standard value, I would just tell you to, if you memorize this, it's good. If you don't, even that is okay. Okay. Don't worry about it. The values will be given, but this is very handy if you know some values. Okay. Now this is theta and this is your tan theta. Okay. So if this is theta and this is your tan theta, so I'm just giving you some standard value. If theta is 0, what is tan theta? 0.
0.
So if you don't know, just make a note of it. If theta is 30, then what is tan 30?
1 by root 3.
1 by root 3.
1 by root 3. If theta is 45, then what is this tan 30?
1.
Tan
1.
45? 1. And if it is like, okay, so I'll just mute all. Fine, he unmuted himself. He muted himself. So now what about next thing? 60. So what is tan 60?
Root 3.
Root 3.
Root 3. And what is tan 90?
Undefined.
Why
Not
it is not
defined.
defined? Okay, we'll come to
Because it
that
will
later
tend to
on.
infinity.
Right. So now you understand this.
Because
Now
cos
let's.
0 is not.
So now over here we got tan theta as 3 by 2. Let's say if I was getting tan theta is, let's say 1. So what can you talk about theta?
45.
45. Right? Because you see here, tan theta is how much I'm getting? 1. So what is theta corresponding to this? 45 degree. Okay? So it becomes handy. So whatever you get is this tan theta, and this tan theta's corresponding theta gives you, like these are some of the standard values that I have written. Now let's talk more on this. And of course you cannot, keep everything on your mind right away, but I would advise you to, make a note of whatever we are doing here. So I'll just erase this part now. Now you understand this. Now we understood what is this theta and what is this tan theta, right? So now understand this part. This tan theta is generally represented as m, okay, and this m is called as slope. Okay, so slope is nothing but this is like one symbol which we use. You can give it any symbol, that is perfectly fine, but on general throughout this course we will be using this symbol as m. So what, instead of writing this tan theta, I am using m, right? And this m is called as a slope. Okay, so this is basically slope, and you know how to get the slope. It's just the difference in this y value upon difference in the x value. Okay, so one more thing that you have to make a note of this is, if I have to draw this, now I'll just erase this part and I'll just simply take a line and then tell you, okay? So make a note of this thing. If this is your x2, y2 and this is your x1, y1. So whatever the slope you get from this, let me indicate the slope something like this, okay? So if this is your delta y and this is your delta x, then your slope is nothing but delta y by delta x, right? This is what we learned, right? So this slope value is very unique for a straight line. So if I have to take another point, something like this, let's say I am taking this one till here, okay, and I'm calling this as my x3, y3, okay, and this I'm calling it as, let's say, okay, let's call this as x2, y2, or we could have given it any number, but still. So whatever the slope you get from here, again this is going to be what? Delta y by delta x, which is essentially the value changes here, like y3 minus y2 divided by x3 minus x2. So this slope, the slope what you get from here is same as slope of this. Even if you take a very small point like this, the slope for this is same as slope for this, is same as slope for this. So you should understand this, okay? So all of you are clear? So if a straight line is given, basically a line is given, there is a unique slope for that line. Okay, so make a note of this, because no matter how, whichever point, 2 points you take, if you try to calculate the slope, it's going to be unique. Okay, so this is all about the concept of slope. So take away from this is,
In
yes,
other way, you are saying angle of inclination will be same.
exactly, the angle of
Okay.
inclination will be same. Yes, you can take that way. Plus the, since we will not be using this too much, well, that is how we started with, and so you can make an understanding like that. But try to come over from this to this now. Okay, so
Sure.
slope is basically tan theta. Okay, so just try to come over from theta to slope. So because theta is fixed, so definitely tan theta is fixed, that means slope is fixed, correct? So essentially that is how you can draw out of it, right? All of you clear with the concept of slope?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
now this is all about the slope. Okay, now let's talk more about what we can do with these slopes and why did we even talk at first place. And since this topic is about straight lines, so what is the importance of this slope, and how do you actually get the straight lines? Okay, so now let's understand this. So I'll just erase the other part. Okay, so now we understood these things. Now you see this, what is important since this is straight line. So how do you actually get an equation of a straight line, right? And why do we even find the equation basically, right? So just to give you a small motivation, why do we find the equation of a line? So let's say y is equals to 2x plus 5. This is the equation of a line. Why do we find is because you see I can actually know if given a x value what is the y value, right? So that forms its importance. Like graphically that is what its importance is. It has got a lot many importance practically if you see. Well, I don't really have to tell you because you already know so many, I assume. So you know what why do we actually find the equation of a straight line is because there are so many things hidden. This phi tells you something, this 2 tells you something, you know, this x which is independent variable, and this is called as a dependent variable on x, because whatever the value is x, that's how you get the value of y. So you can do so many things once you know the equation of a line, and therefore finding an equation of a line becomes important. Okay, so now how do you actually find the equation of a line? So just tell me, to draw a line, what are the necessary things? Like let's say if I want to draw a line, how many points do I need? How many minimum points do I need?
2.
Two.
Two?
So
One.
in
Okay,
one
let's say if I have 1 point, then how many lines can I draw?
Infinite
infinite.
number.
Infinite
Infinite.
lines. I can draw so many lines, right, from this point. But the moment I fix 2 point, if I give you 2 points, you can only draw a single line,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
cannot draw any more lines passing through these 2 points. Can you draw? Just think of it. No.
No.
So, so to draw a line, what is necessary? 2 points are necessary. At least 2 points are necessary. Okay. Also, some of you might be wondering, okay, even through 1 point I can find out, given that what is a slope or what is the angle of inclination. So if I have to tell you the angle of inclination or the slope is something like let's say 5, then slope is definitely going to be something. Let's say if this was the slope 5, if this is slope 5, this is the only unique slope which is 5. If slope is 5, that means essentially what am I saying? Theta is something. Theta is fixed. So if theta is fixed and the line point is given, I can still draw a line, right? So I don't need
Yes.
2 points, but I just need to know 1 point and a slope. I can still find the line. Okay. So this is something called, this is one way which is through which you can find the line, and this is popularly called as point slope form. Okay, through which you can find the equation of a line. Well, I'll discuss more of these, but this is just to give you an idea what we can do with this. Okay, now look at this
Sir,
part.
sir, one thing on that point, if we create another line, the angle of inclination will change.
On this point,
Yeah,
huh,
on a
so what I'm telling is I'm fixing an angle of inclination. Let's say I'm giving
okay,
you a
okay,
point
okay.
and I'm fixing an angle of inclination, or
Hmm.
let's say I'm fixing a slope. Then there
Hmm.
is just one unique line,
One
right?
line. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So that's how it is. So well, this is some general things to just give you a motivation, but let me take you to the other slide where I have just taken some of the points, which, I mean, this is already basically a book, which is something, a book icon you can see in your maths one portal. This is from where I have taken this one. And let's discuss with this, okay? So now you see this, I will just give you an idea what all these things are. You see this, there are different ways of representing a line. So all these are the different representation. Okay. So this is called as general form, wherein ax plus by plus c is equals to 0. So this is a general form of a line. And in your activity, you will find which among, if you have a question, it will be like this, like which among them represents the general form of a line. Okay. So you just have to make sure that this is in this format and give the answer. That's it. Like this is a simple activity question. And there is something called slope point form, so which is given like this. I'll discuss more on this, what exactly these are. Then you have slope intercept form. Then you have slope intercept form when x intercept is given. Over here y intercept was given. This is called as an intercept form. This is called as a 2 point form. Okay, so now we'll discuss more on this. Okay, so I'll start with this one because this is something we can actually relate more. Okay, so now let's say if I have a 2 points, this and this, okay, can I find a slope of this point, of these 2 points?
Yes.
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 x1 y1,
Minus
I
y1
can get the
upon
slope. So what do I really mean? If I have a 2 point, essentially there is a line which is passing through this, right? So I'm asking what is the slope of this line. So how do you get when 2 points are given? Y2
Y2
minus
minus
y1 upon
Y2
x1,
minus
x2
Y1.
minus x1. Okay. So that is something we get from there, right? So now what is the slope of these 2 points? Basically this points which is a part of a line. What is the slope of this? Y2 minus y1 upon x2
X2
minus
minus
x1.
X1.
Well, this is the slope. Now notice this, if these 2 points are given, how do I actually get the equation of a line? So there is a standard way of calculating it. So this is what, how do you get it is, you say general y, which is not, I'm not telling it is a x1 or a y1 or like x2 or sorry, or a y2. So how do I get is, what is the equation of this is, when 2 points are given, this is the equation of a line. So note this, how am I getting it? So y minus, I can take either this coordinates or this coordinates. Okay, so let's say I'm taking this coordinate. So y minus y1, I'm writing the equation of a line, okay, is equal to the slope times x minus x1. So I'm just taking this coordinate. So this is y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x1. So now what is the slope over here? y2 minus
X2 minus, sorry, Y2 minus
y2
Y1
minus
upon
y1 upon x2 minus x1. And this is going to be x minus x1. And this is going to be y minus y1. Okay. So now this is what you get the equation of a line. So now you must be thinking this looks very complicated and all that. Don't worry about it. So now look at this. This formula is essentially this: y minus y1 times which is equals to slope times x minus x1, right? So this is 2 point form. Now I'll come to this, how it is happening. But before going further, let me give you a question here. Okay. There are 2 points P, let's say P whose coordinates are 1 comma 1, and let's say another point Q whose coordinates are let's say 3 comma 3. Okay. What is the equation of line? Question is, what is the equation of a line? What is the equation of a line PQ? So could you start solving this? I am giving you 2 points. P and Q is given to you. And now I am asking you to find out what is the equation of a line PQ. Let's say this is P and this is Q. And of course, there will be a single line which is passing through these 2 points. So what will be the equation of that line is something you have to
Y
find out.
is equal to X.
So let's find out that thing. So I would suggest like all of you to do by yourself, but still, just to finish things sooner. What I'll do is I'll just simply write down for you so that you can also get a use to it. So now you see, as I told you, this is my formula. Now when 2 points are given, how do I get the equation of a line? By this, right? Or whatever I have written it here. It's basically the same thing, right? So when 2 points are given, this is how I get the equation of a line, right? So this is my formula. I'm not deriving this formula, but I'm just telling you this is my formula. Then how do you actually use it? Okay. So now if this is given, you call this as x1, y1 and call this as x2, y2. Okay. And now I'll get the equation of a line. So what is the formula? Y minus y1. So what is y1 value?
1.
Okay, 1. Now we have to do what? Y2 minus y1
Difference
upon x2
is
minus x1, which is going to be
3
3
minus 1
minus 1
upon 3
upon
minus
3 minus 1. And this is going to be x
again X
minus
minus 1.
1. Okay. So now when I solve this, what do I get? 3 minus
1.
1 by 3 minus 1 is nothing but 2 by 2, which is nothing but 1. So 1 I can simply write down x minus 1 as it is. And this I can write down y minus 1 as it is. So,
And gets cancelled.
so how do I write this? So now this I can just simply shift this into the
X
Y equal
and
to
X.
X.
y is equals to x. So this is what the equation of a line I get now. Okay. Okay. So now one thing that you have to understand from this, or just keep it that way. So now you understood what it is, all of you. This is how you get the equation of a line. So you represent y is equals to something. So when 2 points are given, this is how we get it. So now I'll just erase these parts now. And I'll just
Sorry,
keep
I
this
have
as.
one question.
Tell me.
In this we take a point like 1 comma 1 for x and y.
Hmm.
So is it mentioned or we have taken randomly
You
because
have
there are
taken.
2 points?
Right, right. So you see, all you have to do is, that is up to you how you take it. You can take this as also, you can take this also as x1, y1. You can take this as x2, y2. but make sure whatever you are using it, you find it in a same way. So if you want to find the slope for this, you can actually get it that way, as well as you can just interchange the values. That is up to you how you take it. You can take any of the thing as p and q, or like x1 y1 or x2 y2. Okay, but make sure you are substituting whatever you are assuming it, you substitute in a correct way over here in the formula. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's it. So now this is a 2 point form. Now I told you in the beginning that we can actually earlier that when a point is given and a slope is given, I can actually find out the things, right? So let's say so there is something called slope point form. So I'm discussing this now. So now over here, let's say this point was given as x0, y0, and a slope is given to you. Let's say the slope is, I hope you know. So I hope you basically know how to actually get the slope now. So let's say the slope which is given to you is m. Okay. So now, how do you actually get the equation of a line in this case? Okay. So now look at this part. The formula for this is, it's going to be y minus y naught times what is the slope? As I told you in the beginning, it is going to be slope. So m times x minus x1. So essentially you see this, when we have a 2 points, in 2 points the slope will not be given. There you will find out slope, right? This is how you got the slope. But in 1 point, that is slope point form, what is given? Just 1 point is given and a slope is given. So when 1 point is given, so I can use this in this main formula, like thinking this as the main formula. I can say this y1 is nothing but y naught, and I can assume this x1 is nothing but x naught, and this y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 is already given for me, which is been told as m. Okay, and this is how you get this formula. Okay, so I hope you understood. Here we did
Yes.
not have to find out y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. We know that is the slope, but here slope was already given to us, which is m, and that is why we directly substituted when we got the value. Okay, so I hope you understood, all of you.
Yes.
Sir.
Okay,
So with
so now there are
this
two
we
things we
can't
understood.
find
Please go ahead.
with this we can't find the values of x's and y axes.
X and
Or
y value
yeah,
you can actually
can
find.
like if I have just slope and 1 point, like just slope value, can we find x
Look,
and y?
okay, let's give a question over here. Okay, so a question to you is, uh, okay, find the equation of a line. Okay, find the equation of a line whose slope is, let's say 2, and it passes through a point, let's say 1 comma 2. Okay, so now you have to find the equation of a line whose slope is 2 and it passes through the point this. So how do you actually get this?
Okay, we
So
have
which form will you use here?
Slope point.
Slope point
You will
form.
be using slope
yeah,
point form,
yeah.
right?
We got it.
So this is like one very generic
2x
question.
equals y.
Sure.
2x equals to y. Okay, so maybe
2
something
comma
like this,
4.
or y is equals to 2x. Okay, so let's find out. Let's just quickly do this. So if this is my x naught and this is my y naught, so what it is this going to be? So y minus y naught into m into x minus x naught. This is my main formula. So y minus what is y naught? This is 2, and slope is
2.
given as 2. So x minus x1, right? So when we simplify this is going to be 2x minus 2, and this is y minus 2. So y is equals to 2x.
2x.
Why? Because this and this gets cancelled, so y is equals to 2x. So you see this? This is how you get, right?
Sir.
And I'll just quickly erase this, and now we will speed up, okay? So that we can discuss some of the questions later on. So now you see this, what did we learn as till now is, over here what was given? 2 point was given and we were finding the equation of a line. Over here just 1 point was given and a slope was given, right? Here 1 point was given and slope was given. Now there are some more interesting things that we can talk about. So now you see this, there is something called slope intercept form. So now what is this telling you is, basically if I have to tell you that if this is, let's say, a line, or maybe not that, but this is a line, okay? So over here, no point is given to you, okay? And what is given to you over here is this y-intercept. Y-intercept is nothing but wherever it cuts the y-axis. A line where it cuts the y-axis is called as y-intercept. Okay. So over here, this is called as C. This part is called as C. So if you are to ask me what is this point, so could somebody tell me what is that point? 0, C?
0 to, yeah.
0, C.
Yeah.
So this point is 0, C. So essentially you see this C is called as y-intercept. So why do we call it as y-intercept? Because it intercept means what? It cuts the y-axis. So basically this line cuts the y-axis by at what? At 0, C, right? So y-intercept is C. Okay, so if this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis, let's say this is my line. Okay, so how do you actually get, so when y-intercept is given, and let's say I'm giving you the slope value also, and I'm telling you the slope is m. So if these two datas are also given to me, I can find the equation of a line. Essentially, this is what it means. Okay, so if I just give you a slope and I say your y-intercept is this, could you tell me what is the equation of a line? So you can say yes, because we have a standard format. And what is the standard formula? Y is equals to mx plus c.
mx plus c.
What is where m? M is nothing but a slope, and y-intercept is given. They will always give you in question, okay? Which is something called, let's say some value that is c. And once you know this, just substitute in this formula to get the equation of a line, okay? So now if I have to tell you, now look at this, I'm giving you a question in a reverse way, okay? So let's say if y is equals to x, okay? Could you tell me what is the slope of this line?
1.
1.
What is y-intercept of this line?
0.
0.
0.
Right? All of you got it?
Yes, sir.
So basically this line passes through what? Origin?
Yes.
Passes something like this. It
Yes.
passes through origin. Okay?
45, tan 45.
And yeah, and you see the slope is 1, so indicating what? The tan theta is 1, so what will be theta? Theta will be 45 degrees. So this angle of
45.
inclination will be 45. Well, you can talk so many, which is good. So now we understood these many things. So still, if somebody is wondering how did this y-intercept is 0, we can actually write this in this format. Now compare with this. What is m? M is 1. And what is c? This I can write it as 0. So c is what?
Yes.
0. That's how we
0.
got this. Okay, so I hope you understood this. So now this was in terms of y-intercept. There is one more thing which happens. Let's say you have to find the equation of a line whose slope is given. So this is the data which is given, slope is given, and this x-intercept is given, and I'm calling this as d. So x-intercept is given, and what is my x-intercept? X-intercept is d. So essentially, could you tell me what is the point, this point?
So d, 0.
D, 0. Good. So now this is what is given. So a slope is given and x-intercept is given. Then how do you get the equation of a line? When these two are given, you can actually get the equation of a line in this format, which is given. So y is equals to m times, it is m times this time, m times x minus d. Okay. So now you can clearly understand. Now what you have to
Yes.
do, now if I have to tell you, y is equals to 2x plus 5, or let's say 4. Could you tell me what is my x-intercept?
2. No, minus 2.
Minus 2.
Minus 2.
Uh-huh.
No,
All of you?
minus 2 actually.
Okay, so how do you actually get that? I'm sorry. So how do you actually get this x-intercept? So you know this in this formula, this was my x-intercept, right?
Yes, sir.
So I will just try to convert this into this form and then try to find out what is my x-intercept, okay? So now how do we do this? So y is equals to, see there are 2 is common, so I can take out 2 common.
2
X,
slope and x
x
minus 2.
plus 2. So now what is the slope from here?
2.
2.
Slope is 2. And look at this. This is x, has to be in x minus d form. So now if I have to write that in that format, then how can I do this? So this I can write it as x minus
Minus
of
of
minus 2. Right? Now this is
Yes.
perfectly in this format. Right? This is perfectly in this format from which I can say m is 2.
Yes.
And what is my d? D is minus 2.
minus 2.
Minus 2.
Minus
That
2.
means, can you think of this line? How will this look like? If d is minus 2, so this is going to be somewhere here because this is where we get.
Yes.
And 2, this is positive, so that means it has to go something like this. So this is how the equation of a line, this particular line will look like.
Yes.
All of you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
clear.
Sir, we can also do this by equating y is equal to 0.
Yes, 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 you can definitely do that. Okay, now if this was the equation of a line, what is y-intercept from this?
The 2 plus 2
0.
Y-intercept
plus 2.
Plus 2.
plus 2.
Plus
It should be
4.
4, no?
Sir.
This is in form of what? Y is equals to mx plus c. What
Oh,
is
sorry,
your c?
4, 4. Yeah, 4.
Right?
Oh,
So this is
4.
4. So essentially this is going to be what? 4. Right? Like this height. This part is going to be 4 and this part is going to be minus 2. Of
Minus
course,
2.
in this figure it does not look that proportionate, but understand that this is how it is. Okay, so now we understood that. Now I'll quickly summarize at the end, but I'll just tell you what are the other ways by which we can find out. So now you see I can find the equation of a line when 2 point is given, right? When 1 point and a slope is given, I can find the equation of a line. Okay, if no point is given, but if only x-intercept and a slope is given, I can find the line. If y-intercept and a slope is given, I can find the line, right? What are we saying is always this slope thing is coming out. So there is somebody, let's say some XYZ person who told like, okay, I'm not interested, you give me slope and I'm finding the line. Let's not do that way. Let me tell you that only the x-intercepts value and y-intercepts value are given. Okay, so if this is A, or let's say this is, B and this is your A. So what I'm saying is if this distance, your x-intercept is A and y-intercept is B, can you still find the equation of a line? The answer is yes. And how do you get it? You basically get it by this formula, that is x by A plus y by B is actually equals to 1. So over here, no slope, nothing is given, but both the x-intercept and y-intercept is given. Okay, so even if two intercepts are given, we can still find the equation of a line, and that is something we get it by intercept form. So you can see here, this form is given. So what I'm giving you, just x and y intercept, and that's it. Okay, so now you understand one more thing. This is very similar to, you can think of in this way, right? If this is 0 comma b, and this is nothing but a comma 0. So this is 2 point form. Essentially, you can use this formula also to come at this part, or you can find the equation of a line, right? So essentially, this is the way you have to think it out. Okay, all of you clear with this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So now a quick question to you. Let's say y is equals to mx, not mx. Y is equals to 2x plus, or let's say minus 8. Okay, if this is the equation, what is the x and y intercepts of this given line?
4 and minus 8.
Huh?
4 and minus 8.
Okay, fine. So you can just quickly solve by yourself and see what it is. Meanwhile, I'll even do with you. So you can actually solve this. So for those who are not solving it and just listening to me, just see how it is happening. So you see this, how is this intercept form written? Like this, right? How is that written? X by A plus Y by B is equal to 1, right? So I will just try to bring this in that format, okay? And then see how it's happening. So I'll just bring this here. So what I'll do is I'll just take the X terms on the other hand and this to the other end. So what I will do is I'll just bring this 2x, let's 2x be as it is. I'm just taking y on the other side. Okay, so this is going to be minus y, and I'll just take this 8 to the LHS, that is left hand side. So this is going to be 8. Now if I have to bring it in this form, I have to make sure that this is 1. So what should I do to make it 1? Should I divide this by 8, divide LHS and RHS by 8? Can we do this? Right, so I
Yes.
can do that. So if I do
Yes.
this, what do
Yes,
I
sir.
get?
Divide by 8.
Yeah. So what do I get? 2x by 8
By 8.
minus y by
Minus y
8.
by
Y
8
by
This
is
is
equal to
8 by
1.
8, which is nothing but 1. So now I got it in this format. So now again, I still don't know what is this AB, right? And it has to be in this nicer way, like whatever way it is represented. So then only I can find out what is my x-intercept and y-intercept. Well, you notice this is x-intercept and this is your y-intercept, okay? Now, below the x, whatever this coefficient is given, this is your x-intercept and this is your y-intercept. So how do you get this? So now this I can write it as x by 4.
4.
Now I have to make sure this is going to be plus. So if I have to make this plus, then what should I do?
Y upon minus 8.
Y
Upon?
divided by -8.
-8.
Okay. So I can just do like this, right? So y upon
Yes.
-8. So essentially this
-8.
is nothing but minus into minus will make it minus, which will come to this, okay? So now could you tell me what is my x-intercept?
4.
4.
X-intercept is 4.
4.
What is my y-intercept?
Minus 8.
-8.
-8. So now we got it. So how will the equation of a line look like? If x is 4, so which is somewhere here, and y is -8, which is somewhere here, right?
Yes, sir.
So if this is the point and this is the point, all you have to do is just take your scale and draw these two lines. So this is how will this equation of a line look like. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we got to know what is intercept form as well. Okay. So now there is something called general form also. Now you notice one thing. What did we do is like this was given, and then what did we do? We actually find out that we brought it in intercept form and we analyzed. Now look at this part. This is in the form of, you can also do it the other way around, which I'm going to tell you. Y is equals to mx plus c form, right? What is c
Yes.
from this?
Yes.
What is
C
c
is
from this?
-8.
Minus 8.
-8. Is
-8.
this matching with this?
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes.
C? C was my y-intercept and this was also my y-intercept, right? So see, it matches. So you can also find it out this way, or you can also bring this in this format, y is equals to m times x minus d, and find out what is your d, right? You can do it this way also. You have so many ways
Yes, sir.
to exploit and get the answer.
4.
Okay? All of you okay with this? Okay,
Yes.
so now having known these parts, so I think let's just see what all things we did. So we did what all things? We understood what is this 2-point form. We understood what is this intercept form. We also understood what is this slope form. Slope intercept form when x-intercept was given and when y-intercept was given. Then we also understood what is this slope point form. This is general form. This is very easy. So you don't really have to think anything. You just have to express it in general form. Let's say I'm giving you an equation y is equals to 2x plus 4. Express this in general form. Okay? Express this in general form. So how do you do that?
2x minus y plus 4 equals 0.
2x minus y plus 4 equals to 0. So what is your a in this? 2. What is your b in this? -1. What is your c in this? 4. So this is in general form. Okay, that's it. There is nothing more. It's like simply a representation. That's it. Okay. So all of us understood these two things? I mean, these many things?
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Hmm, hmm.
I may sound little illogical, but in one of the question where m was equal to 0 and d answer came for d was -2, and then you actually drew the line. So how is that, like, if we know m, can we really draw the line? Like, we don't know the theta here, then I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something.
Let's say
It
y
is
is equals to 0x plus 2. Okay, what is theta here? Or like what is slope value here?
0.
0.
0. So what is slope? Slope is 0. So what is
0.
theta?
0.
Angle of
Parallel.
inclination?
It
0.
40.
0.
0.
0,
Okay.
0. It's
Yes,
not
0,
45.
0. Yes, 0.
Okay, so essentially now recall that we were talking about a log of wood which was on the ground and all
Yes.
that, right?
Yes.
So essentially here the log of wood is flat. It's on the ground.
Okay.
Sir,
So
sir, is
not
it
on the ground,
possible?
but 2 meters above from the ground. So it's not on the ground exactly. So it's y is equals to 2. So essentially this equation is nothing but y is equals to 2. Right? So how will that look like? Y equals to 2 means it's nothing but here. It's so imagine this is your log of wood, which is how much above the ground? 2.
2.
That's it. So
2
this is
units.
what the equation of this line is. Okay?
So, but when m is 2, like where it came answer, we drew the line from x-axis, which was -2. So how did it got concluded?
-2 because our y-intercept was minus, x-intercept was
Why?
minus.
Yes, x-intercept d was -2 and
Huh?
m was 2. So
M
we
was
drew
2.
the line. Yeah. So
We drew
how?
the line like this, right?
Yes, yes. How
Okay.
did this
How
came?
did this happen? Okay, fine. So you
Yes.
for understanding this, you must know how will the slope look like. Okay, so let's say basically, what is the slope of this line? If let's say this is my line, L1, what is the slope of this line? Let's say, I'll just mute all. Okay, fine. So you can unmute and speak, but just somebody who would have just left it as it is. So I just muted all. Okay. So now you see this, if this is the line, what is the slope of this line?
Zero.
Zero. Essentially, it is zero. Why is it zero? Just understand this. Okay. Now look at this. If
Because
this is my, let's say,
delta
if this is
angle
1
of
comma,
inclination is zero, sir.
Zero.
ah,
That's why.
okay, if this
Or
is 1
then
comma
delta
2,
it is
Y is
parallel
not
to
changing
x-axis.
with respect to x.
okay, that's fine, that's fine. Let me just understand this. I'm taking 2 points, okay? If this is 1 comma 2, let's say if this is 2, then what will be the y value for this?
2.
It will be 2.
It will be 2 only, because you see there is no increase in this. So what is y2 minus y1?
0.
So 0 by whatever, it's a number. 2 minus 1 is nothing but 0. So slope is what? 0. Right?
Yes.
So you can think
Yes.
of that way. Okay. Well, this is what? A parallel line. Basically, this was parallel to what? X-axis. If this is my
X-axis.
x-axis and this is y-axis, so this line was parallel. So now note these two things. If my slope is 1, if my slope is 2, if my slope is, let's say, something like a very large number, let's say it is something like 100, and let's say my slope is minus 2, and my, let's say, slope is m equals to minus 8 or whatever. Let's give it as minus 8. Okay, so how will this line look like? Let's say the line was passing through origin. Okay, so why, if my slope is 1, so it has to go like this. So it is something going like this. If my slope is 2, essentially what will happen? It will go something like this. You see, it is more steeper. It is more towards the y-axis. Okay, clear? Okay, and if m
Yes.
is 100, it is going to be something more like this. It will be, very parallel. It will be like parallel to y-axis, but not exactly parallel. So this is if my slope is 100. This is when my slope is 2. This is when my slope is 1. Okay. What is when slope is 0? How will the line look like when m is 0? It will be this.
It will be on y-axis.
X-axis.
X-axis. X-axis.
So you see this, as m is increasing, what is happening to my line? It is also, it's becoming more steeper towards the y-axis, right? Now
Yes.
note this thing. When m is minus 2. So when m is minus 2, it will be like this. Okay. When m is minus 2, this is how the line look like. So make a note of this. And when m is minus 8, then what is the value?
It will be
It will be here or
steeper.
here.
It should be at this point, I guess.
It will
More
be towards
steeper
y-axis
towards.
only. It will be towards y-axis only. So this is for m is equals to minus 8, and this is m is equals to minus 2. Okay. So what about m equals to minus 1? Like this.
Yeah, it should be toward y-axis.
So now what about m equals to minus 0.0001? So it's going to be something like this, more flatter.
It should be more towards y-axis.
So here this is going to be m is equals to minus 0.00. So now you can visualize how is this m going to be. So m is negative, then you see this, it is somewhere like this side it's coming up, right? When m is positive, it's something like this side, right? So hope you understood this. So that is why I
Yeah.
was able to draw that line that time, because when m was positive, then certainly I know that it will go something like this, right? Not like this,
Yes.
right? And that is how I
Okay.
was able to draw. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So now, having known these things, now let's quickly jump into the other thing. Okay. Now what? See, I have two lines. Okay. How will these two lines look like in space? Okay. If I have a two lines, it will be either parallel, right? Or they will intersect by some angle, let's say theta, or they will be basically collinear. These are the only things which can happen. Or like some special cases I can draw from here is, if they are intersecting, the two things can happen, right? If they are intersecting, two things can happen. either they will intersect by 90 degree, right? Let's say this is L1 and this is your L2. So this is my L1, this is my L2, this is my L1 and this is my L2. So now what I'm finding out what are the possible things that can happen with the two lines. The two lines can either be parallel or they will be intersecting by some angle theta. Let's say not theta, but let's say phi. Okay. So, this is what can it happen. And if they are intersecting, they can either intersect by 90 degree or by some angle lesser than 90 degree, or it can even happen that these two lines are collinear to each other. Basically, line 1 is same as line 2, right? These are the only possibilities that I can have, right? All of you with
Yes.
me? Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So now understand this. If this is the line L1 and this is line L2, so, and I'm claiming this is a parallel line, okay? If this is a parallel line, let's say slope for this line L1 is M1 and slope for line this L2 is M2. So two lines are parallel if and only if M1 is equals to M2. That means the slope of line L1 is equal to slope of line L2, then only I can say these two lines are parallel. I hope you understood this.
Yes.
All of you
Yes.
clear with this?
Yes.
Yes.
So when are two lines parallel? When their slopes are equal.
When the slopes are
So, sir,
Okay.
in this case, slope must be equal to 0 or something else.
No.
not
Basically,
necessarily.
yeah, you can say if your x-axis was this.
On
Okay.
the yeah,
But you can also have a parallel line like this also,
yeah, yeah,
right? But
sure,
over
sure.
here, yes, you can, you visualize that it is with
Yes,
reference to x-axis. I
yes,
understood.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So now if you have L1 and L2, and let's say the slope for this L1 is M1 and for this L2 is M2, then two lines are perpendicular to each other if and only if M1 times M2 is equals to -1. So you can make a note of this as well. Two lines are perpendicular to each other or makes a 90 degree or cuts at the 90 degree if the product of their slopes is -1. So essentially, if the slope of M1 is let's say 2, then what should be the slope of line L2 so that it is 90 degree?
-2.
Minus 1 by 2.
-1/2. So if
Sorry,
M1
-1/2.
is 2, then what should be the slope of line L2 so that it is perpendicular? So how do you get this? Simply substitute in this. So this is going to be
Yes,
2
sir.
times M2, which is nothing but -1. So which will give you M2 is equals to -1/2. That means essentially the slope of this line has to be what? -1/2 for it to be a 90 degree. Because this is what we are claiming, that two lines are perpendicular to each other when their products of slopes is -1. So I hope, is it okay to all of you?
Sir, I
Yes.
Yes,
have
sir.
doubt.
Okay. What can you talk about the slope of these lines?
Sir, sir,
Mm,
Basically, these are also parallel line condition only, and they are lying one above the other. So essentially what is happening over here is slope is same over here too, right? Can you say this?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Because it's basically the
M1
same
is
line.
equal to minus
Yes,
M2.
coinciding
So
lines.
what will be happen?
If M1 is equals to minus M2, is it? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
So you tell me what will happen when M1 is 1, or you are saying M1 is equals to minus M2, right?
I think
Is
he's
it?
asking for perpendicular line.
This
No,
is not a, this does not
zero.
indicates a perpendicular line. This will
Yes, sir.
actually indicates
No,
that
no.
they are
He,
intersecting by some angle theta.
the guy,
Yes.
he is asking for perpendicular line.
Okay. So now look at this part. Let's say if this was theta, so how do you, let's say the slope for this L1 is M1 and for slope for this is M2. Okay. Basically, I'm talking, this is by slope. Okay. So if this is slope of L1 is M1 and slope of L2 is this thing, then how do you actually get this theta? Or let's say this is phi and this is lesser than 90 degree. Okay. So basically this lesser than 90 degree thing, then how do you get this? Then you say this tan phi is actually equals to M2 minus M1 and this has to be in mod divided by 1 plus M1 M2. So any angle if you want to find out, okay, what is the angle between these two intersecting line, then this is the formula. All you have to know is know their slope and substitute this in this thing. Okay. So now let's understand this. Let's verify this part. Okay. What I was saying is tan phi is what? What is phi?
Mode of m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 m2.
No. Just tell me what is phi
That's
in
an angle between two lines.
correct.
Two
So the
intersecting.
angle between two intersecting lines, this is my phi, and this phi is lesser than 90 degree. It is an acute angle. Okay. So this is I'm claiming. And this is my L1 and this is my L2. So and the slope for this is M1 and the slope for this is M2. So now then how do you get this tan phi? Basically, how do you get this theta? Okay. So now what now I'm telling you is over here, what will happen when phi is 0? What will happen?
Either coinciding lines.
They are
There is
coinciding
no
lines, they are collinear lines. Essentially,
collinear
this
line.
case will come.
They are parallel.
They are parallel, or essentially this case will come, right? These two
Yes.
lines are overlapping on each other, right? So then let's try to draw, if they are overlapping, then we told no that m1 will be equals to m2. This is what we came, no?
Yes. Yes.
Right? So let's understand from this formula. If phi is 0, then what is tan phi? What is tan 0? Tan 0 is what?
0.
Tan 0 is
0.
0, so this will be 0. And if this is 0, so let's say if I throw this is something m2 minus m1 upon 1 upon m1 m2. So now what I can throw this to that side. So what I'll be left with? M2 minus m1 is equals to 0, or essentially m1 is equals to m2. So we got to that condition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we understood that. But what now look at this, if this phi was 90 degree, suppose I was claiming here that it is lesser than 90 degree, then we are using this formula. But what if my phi was 90 degree? What is tan phi?
Undefined.
Not defined.
Essentially it means what? Tan phi, basically I can say that tan 90 is nothing but 1 by 0.
Yes, sir.
Right? I can say this 1 by 0.
Yes.
Yes.
This is not
Yes.
defined, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So to all of you who are thinking, why am I talking this? It's just that, you can just think of a line like this. Okay. Basically, this is a line. Now note what is happening here. X value is same. X1 is equals to X2, right? Let's say if I have to tell you this, how am I getting this 90 degree? I'm just trying to explain you that. But let's say if this is the point and this is the another point. Okay. And if this is, let's say 5 comma 2. Okay, this point is 5 comma 2. Essentially, this is also 5 comma whatever, let's say 100 you told. Okay, but note this x-axis is same. How do we get the slope of this line? Could somebody help me out finding this?
Yes.
There is
100
no
minus 2 upon 5 minus 5.
100 minus 2 upon 5 minus 5. So essentially, what are you getting? You are getting something like 98 upon
98 by 0.
0. So whenever anything divided by 0 is nothing but not defined. So
Undefined.
I'm not worried about what is given here, but all I know is when phi is 90 degree, then I know that something denominator is 0 and here whatever, let's say a, some value. Okay. So this is what it's happening. All of you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now if I have to now look at this, and I'm just reciprocating this. If phi is 90 degree, I'm just reciprocating this. So this is going to be 1 by tan phi, which is nothing but 1 plus m1 m2 upon mod over of m2 minus m1. Correct? Now you know that tan 90 was what?
Undefined.
Fine.
A by 0, right?
Yeah, A
Now
by
A by
0.
0. So what is happening? This A is going on the top. I can take this on the top. So essentially it
Yes.
is 0 by A.
0 by A.
0 by A
Or
is
0.
nothing but what? 0.
0.
Now I can cross multiply these things. And what do I
Yes.
get?
Against 0. So 1.
So this is
1
going to be
1
plus
minus
m1
m1.
times m2. And just I'll take this 1 to the other
minus
side. So it will
1.
become minus 1.
Yes.
Minus
So I
1.
arrive at that condition only. Essentially.
The formula.
And this formula is nothing for 90 degree. When are two lines perpendicular to each other, when this is happening? Okay, so even if you didn't understood how we are getting this, how am I deriving it, don't worry about it. It's just that I wanted to tell you that this formula is right. You can think of this formula is right and you can use it. Okay,
Sir,
so now we
one
understood.
quick question, sir. Sir, one quick question. So why did you do it 1 by tan phi?
1 by tan phi?
Huh.
Yeah, because you see, essentially tan phi was giving me not defined. I cannot do anything about this.
Correct.
So I had to take the reciprocal of this. So 1 by tan phi is nothing but I can think of that 0 will go to the numerator. So 0 by anything is 0. Making use of that idea, I took the reciprocal and did that. Okay.
Okay, so ideally, just to prove it, you took it as 1 by tan
Correct.
phi,
Correct.
right?
Hello.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Any doubt? Okay. So I think I thought a lot of concepts now. Let's do some questions. Okay. So that even you are involved in the things. Otherwise, maths becomes really boring when you're just listening to someone. So let's quickly do this. But before going there, let me quickly tell you what are these two formulas, okay? And so that we can understand more. Over here, this is same thing. When two lines are parallel and when two lines are perpendicular, you can make use of these formulas or whatever I told you. I think the other one is better, so you can use them. M1 times M2, and over here it is M1 into M2 is nothing but -1. So we are done with this, and yeah, this concept is done. So now you see this. How do you get the distance between the two lines? Let's say if this is a point x1, y1, and this is another point x2, y2. Now I'm telling you find the distance between this line, distance between these 2 points. If this is P and this is Q, what is the distance between these two? So how do you get this? There is a formula. Let's say distance is D. So this D is nothing but root over of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. Okay, all of you understood this? So
Yes.
you understood what I meant to say. Like if the 2 points are given, how do you actually get the distance between those 2 points? That is given by this formula. Okay. So so having known these things, like I'll come to the next two line, next to this and this, I'll come to this. But before going there, I want you to solve one question. Okay. So over here, so essentially you have already seen it, but I want to solve this. I want all of you to solve this. So try to solve this particular question and give me the answers.
You have unshared the screen.
The screen is not visible.
Okay, just a minute.
Yes,
Question is not visible.
Just a minute, just a minute.
A is 3 comma 2 and B is 4 comma -1.
Okay, so yeah, this was the thing. So you can put your answers in the chat window. I can take a look from there. Okay. So meanwhile, I want you to form. I want all of you to fill this form. Basically, it's like a feedback form, just to know like what we are doing is actually getting conveyed to you or not, or like where you are actually struggling, so that we can orient our session, the next session in that way. Okay. Clearly, what today we are doing is we are not entertaining your doubts, since it's more like a summary session, I would say. So you can think of in that way. So, and the other thing is, tomorrow let's take up some difficult question and do sums. See, essentially, even I like doing that thing. When you know some concept, like, yeah, this is what this is, then I would suggest to solve difficult questions so that the easier one becomes, it loses its essence essentially. It becomes much, much easier that you don't have to really break your head for that particular question. Right? So that's how even I feel like learning. But it's okay. That's fine. We have so many sessions to go ahead. So I would suggest that whatever today we are doing is perfectly okay. And as we are not entertaining much doubt, and I assume you don't even have a doubt because you have not gone through the videos. But even if you have a doubt, you can ask me at end. Uh, we'll keep some some time for that, okay? So I want all of you to fill this form, and so that we can just improve, or not improve in sense, we can do more with our session in the next what we will be taking. Okay, so those who started solving this, could you give me the answers in the chat window? 2 and 3, 4. I'll mute all again. Okay, so let's discuss this, or you need some time to solve?
2 more minutes, please.
2 more minutes, okay. Yes, it will be good, so that even we can have a track of you, like track of you in the sense, you see, there is something more we are coming up with. We want to actually find out who are those students who are actually struggling, so that we can do something more for them.
Sir, I want
So,
to say,
like if you attend this session, we will have an idea that, okay, you attended this session and, you got some inputs from us. And given what we are delivering to you, is it making any sense in, in your learning thing? So that's why these forms are. Okay.
sir,
And
I just want to say one thing. Like
yes.
when you're teaching, I mean, think of from the people who are working professional from their point of view
Correct,
also,
correct.
because some of them are like studying after 10 years, 20. Like
Yes, yes.
I'm 40, so
Yeah,
I'm
right.
studying
Yeah,
after 20 years.
yeah,
So
I can understand. Yes, yes, yes. So,
just
did you have any
where is the
problem in
form?
understanding concept today?
no, actually, because I saw one of the video before, one of the small video introduction video before, so that's why I was able to. Otherwise, there are small things which you think that the people who
I
have
get
just
it.
passed 12th, they will know. But for me, those small things which you are not telling here, that will become backlog, and then I want to even understand
Exactly.
what you're saying.
Exactly. Basically, we actually want to figure out that only, and because you see, it's very essential to identify those people, and that's why we have kept so many sessions. It's like, like literally 5 sessions, and there are something called office hours also, wherein you can come and ask your doubts, right?
Say
So
now
it's like,
study sessions are also added with mentors.
even that is there. So it's basically for those who are repeating this course for grade improvement, right? It's for them, and like I don't know how they are actually taking out. But yes, so you see there are so many things. So that is what, like, we also came to know, like there are some percentage of students who, because of lacking some concept, actually, and that concept not getting clarified then and there, what happens is it's actually becoming a giant at the end of 4th week, or
Yeah,
like as you learn. So, and it also kind of demotivates. I
yeah,
totally understand this. So you feel
yes,
free
yes,
to ask. Yes,
yes.
the sessions are only for, like, considering you people in mind. As I told you, like, yeah, this is for all those who are from non-science, or let's say a working professional who's like, who is not in touch of studies from past so many years. So you can definitely highlight anything, like, yeah, can you give me more inputs on this? We are always there to help you for that. Okay.
Can
So
I
you can.
add more to it?
Yes.
Like last week, what was happening in the session, because there were many people who already had they know everything, and then there was this problem, where we were stuck with set theory maybe, and maybe not able to go or discuss concept or go for afterward. But then compared to, like, if I compare the difference, like I really like today's session. Doesn't matter how much I got it or not, I have to practice and I have to see sessions. But there was this flow where at least we discussed the concept, and it helped us. Like maybe there will be, definitely there will be more doubts, and will, like, it will come after like solving question
Yes, yes.
also. But at least they got they got discussed at least, and now we know, and we know how to start. Maybe like I don't know what other
I
feels
got it,
about it.
Diksha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I do agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, fine. So, we can actually do something like this. Like we can actually summarize the contents what is there in the week. So that, even you before watching the video, you have some idea, okay, what the professor is talking about. Sometimes the professor might talk something which is not really to comprehend it. Let's say if you see Professor Madhavan videos, what I feel is like he's very much to the point and very crisp and clear. Sometimes, that is difficult to understand until or unless you illustrate it more. But even he has some constraints, say, time constraint of the videos and all that. So that is why we come in, to bridge that gap and so to teach you some concepts and, and give you more examples so that, you actually understand what professor is telling. So yes, it makes sense, and it's very much important. Even I do understand this, and it's not just you. Like all the previous batches also told that you should actually summarize the content once, so that you actually know what is there in the thing, and then it becomes really easy to learn. So truly, we'll do something like this from next session onwards, okay? Uh, and this is how it's going to be. So, and see, do watch those videos on like live session videos, which is given to you. I hope you're watching, like in on your portal there you'll see a icon called live session video. So this is like videos are like recorded videos from last time what we had taken. So if you can see there are some videos like we
Yes,
have
yes.
only taken it. So some of them are like summarized ones. You can actually watch, and the timestamp is also given like what is being discussed at what interval of time. So you can make use of that as well, so that you're not actually. So even you have an idea if like 2 hour, 3 hours videos, what is there exactly in video will that timestamp tell you. Okay, so you can make use of all that. Well, I think we had a lot discussion of these kind, and we have
Just
so
one,
many concept to discuss now.
just one
Yes.
more question, if time permits.
Meanwhile, please solve this particular thing, and I can just show you the solutions till then how it's actually happening. This is something whatever you are seeing here is a quiz question. Okay, basically it was asked in one of the qualifiers, so I just took it from there and I gave it here. So you can have a easy questions like this also. That's what I meant to say. So you can keep going through this solution till then. I'll explain you what it is, but you can keep going through this. Yes, you tell me what is your doubt till then.
I was just asking, like, can we ask questions from like previous lectures, like functions, relations? I mean, if we missed and if we have any doubts, like not particularly in this session, but any like open session
Yes,
or
yes, yes. You can come to that, or you can come to office hours and ask. Office
okay.
hours are mainly meant for that. Like if you missed out some points or like you're struggling at some concept, you can come and pitch there. You can come and
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah, so there are like few things in relations and functions which I'm stuck with, so I just wanted to check if.
See, if
Also,
you
sir,
want to, huh?
sorry, sir, sorry to interrupt. This study session is now daily at 7 to 9 with mentors. So I'm informing that if that will also help. The mentor yesterday who I met is a diploma student and he was quite helpful for me yesterday.
Oh, I see. Nice.
Uh,
Okay, fine. That's good then.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Am I
Rishabh.
audible?
Yeah, Pawan. Yes.
Um, in the maths subject, uh, in the week two session,
Mhm.
there's called week two tutorial videos. What are
Correct.
those
Correct.
videos, sir?
So those videos are basically it's like those are like some slightly tougher than the average, I would say, type questions, and that is being discussed there. And tutorial are must-watch videos. You must watch them. Okay,
Okay,
because
okay.
yeah, you shouldn't treat it as some redundant videos or something. You shouldn't treat it because that's the most important video, I would say. Because the questions what is being discussed there are really important. Yeah, that will really help you because those questions are actually difficult questions. Some of the questions are
Yes,
actually difficult questions, and if you can see that and solve those questions or like solve by yourself altogether, so that's going to be, if you can solve those kind of questions, then I would say like yeah, that's dull, all done for your week two. There's nothing more you can do
yes,
in
sir.
week two. Okay, Pawan. All right. So
Yes,
now let's come to the topic here. Okay. So now let's see this. Basically, what is given here is 2 points is given on XY plane. Which of the following statements are correct about the line segment AB? So now A and B is given. All of you can see AB is given. So now what all we can do with this line? 2 points are given. I can get the equation of a line first of all. right? And once I can get the equation of a line, I can actually exploit that equation of a line to know what is my x-intercept, whether that line is parallel, whether, sorry, not parallel, but what is the slope of that line, right? Or what is its intercepts, right? All that thing I can do, right? So whenever the 2 point is given, first of all, what are the options? That options will give us the direction, what we have to really do with these 2 points, okay? Okay, the slope of the line which is perpendicular to the line segment AB is 1 by 2. So what is the approach for solving this question? First of all, you should know what is the slope of line AB. And then simply use perpendicular formula, that is slope of m1 times m2 is nothing but -1. So all you have to do is just that, right? And then this first option we can get. So I can just erase this, and I think most of you giving answer as 2 comma 3. So I think some of you would have honestly solved that, and some of you would have seen it in the beginning, but that's okay. Uh, let's come to our options. So for options one, what you had to do was first find out the slope of this line, and then uh, just do the product of these two lines and see whether they are perpendicular or not. Okay. And the other part of the question, that is second question, the line x minus 3y minus 7 is perpendicular to the line segment AB. Now again, this AB is here. All we have to do is just find the slope of this line and check what it is, what we are talking about. Parallel, what you have to do? You have to just check whether these two, the slopes of both are equal or not, right? Then what is the distance between the point AB? Now, how do you get that? Again, we know the formula we just studied a while ago before coming to this question. That was root over of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. That is all we had to do. Now, just let me just quickly tell you what these solutions are. Now, using 2 point form, equation of the line segment AB can be found, right? And how do you get that AB? All we have to do is just 2 point form, right? So using 2 point form, I got the equation of a line, something like this. So what is the slope of this line? Anybody? What is the slope of this line?
-3.
Minus
Minus 3.
-3.
Now we know what is the slope of this line. So the slope of this line is -3. Now what was the first option? The slope of the line which is perpendicular to the line segment is -1 by 2. No, that will not be the case. What is the slope of our line? Slope of the line is -3. So let's say this is m1. So m1 times m2 is nothing but -1, right?
Minus.
So what should be m2 here? It has to be what? 1 by 3
1/3.
for it to be perpendicular, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it 1 by 3? No, this is not 1 by 3, and therefore this option is incorrect, right? The line, this is perpendicular to the line segment, this thing. So now let's just quickly find out what is the slope from here. If we can find out the slope, and if that slope is 1 by 3, then I can say it is perpendicular, correct? So now if I have to write this in our normal slope intercept form, so how can I write this? So I can write this in this form. So x minus, sorry, 3y is equals to 3y is equals to x minus 7. So all I did was I just took this to the right hand side, right? So now y is equals to 1 by 3x minus 7 by 3. So what is slope of this line?
1 by 3.
1 by 3. And this is matching with the perpendicular line of m1, right? So therefore I can say this is correct. What is y-intercept of this line? Could you tell me what is y-intercept of this line?
-7 by
Minus 7 by 3, right? All of you clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, well, we understood this. Now, similarly, now over here, what it was told, the line, this is parallel to the line AB, right? So what was the slope of our line AB? It was -3. Let's quickly look at over here, what is the slope of this line? So what is the slope of this line? All I have to do is just write it in intercept form. So what do I do? Y is equals to -3x plus 20. So notice what is the slope of this line?
-3.
-3, and which is same
-3.
as the slope of the line AB. Therefore, this is right. Correct? All of you clear on this?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Now, distance between the
Yes,
point
sir.
AB is nothing but this formula, x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, right? And this will
Yes.
actually help us to find out what is the distance between this point. So I have done that for you, and I'll just simply show that how is that been done. So it's
Square
simply
root
this,
of
right?
10.
So all we had to do was substitute here, and we got as root 10, but over here what it is showing? 7 by root 10. So is this right? Fourth option?
No, wrong, sir.
This is wrong. So you see, these are some of the easy questions that you can think of coming in the exam, right? Even like this kind of questions will come. And some of the questions are also difficult, which might turn up coming. A difficult question, something you'll find it in SSC, which is a concept of week 2 only. Okay, so now as I told you earlier that I'll be telling you what is these two things, and then we can quickly now we can summarize the things and do some of the questions, because we also have this time refrain. We have almost done like 1.5 hours. Okay, so now look at this part. Now what is this we are talking about? So I'll just show my screen like the way we were doing before and quickly discuss some of the thing. And I think we had a small talk like break, so we also done with the small break. Now quickly look at this part. Now what is this tells you is basically, let's say you have a line something like this. Maybe I can just draw a line like this. Sorry. Now let's say this is a line given to me. Okay, y is equals to, let's say, mx plus c form, and there is one point over here. Let's not give it in this way, but let's give it in a general form. Ax plus by plus c is equals to 0. It's just that I'm writing it in a general form. Okay, and this is the point. Okay, now I'm asking you to find out what is the distance of this point P from this line. So basically, what is that distance? So which distance will you be finding out? That's again a question, right? You can say even this is a distance of this point P from this line. You can even say this is the distance. Even you can say this is a distance d of a point from this line, right? You can talk anything, right? So then what is the normal notation that we can think of whenever you talk
Shortest
about
distance.
shortest distance, right? So we will say what is the shortest distance of this point P from this line, and that shortest distance is something like this, right? And you will notice that this shortest distance is actually makes a 90 degree to this. So basically the shortest distance is the perpendicular distance. Okay, shortest distance is the perpendicular distance. It makes a 90 degree over here. Okay, so this distance d is the shortest distance, and that is what is something you should find out. So whenever we say what is the distance of a point from a line, we actually mean what? The shortest distance. Okay, all of you clear on this?
Yes.
Okay, then how do you actually get this shortest distance d? Okay, so now let's quickly know this formula. I mean, just try to comprehend this formula. So if this was P and let's say the coordinates for this was x1 comma y1. Okay, then how do you actually get this distance? So formula is very straightforward. D is nothing but D is equals to modulus of, all you have to do is just substitute, instead of x and y, substitute these values. So all you have to do is a times x1 plus b times y1 plus c over whatever this is, a. So it's root over of a square plus root over of b square. That's it. Just you have to do this, you will get the distance of this point from the line. So you don't really have to worry about whether this is perpendicular or you know what not. But essentially this distance what you get is the shortest distance. Okay, all of you clear on this?
Yes.
Okay, so I will not be discussing any numerical on this. I think you can just do some activity questions, you will get it. But where you can make mistake is something I'll take up one numerical and then I can discuss that. Now you see this, there is one more thing. Let me discuss this one with you. What is the distance between the two parallel lines, this and this? Now you have, say, you have a two parallel lines given, ax plus by plus c1 is equals to 0 and another ax plus by plus c2 is equals to 0. Now these are the two parallel lines. Now I am saying this is parallel line. Could you actually confirm whether this is a parallel line? Can anybody tell me what is the slope of this line?
M1 equal to M2.
No, tell me what is m1 value from this?
Minus a by b.
Minus
Ah. All you have to do is just bring it in this form. It's like by is equals to minus ax minus c1, right? And then
yes.
what is y is equals to minus a by bx
B.
minus c1 by b. So what is the slope? Minus a by b.
Minus A by
Clear?
B.
All of you clear on this? Okay, so
Yes,
could you
sir.
quickly tell me what is the slope of the other line? Let's say this is m2.
Minus A by B.
Minus A by B.
Minus a by b. So whatever I'm claiming that these two are parallel lines is right, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? So you can also make a note of this, like the coefficient of a and coefficient of b are same, and only this c1 and c2 are varying, right? So two lines are parallel if the coefficient of x and y are same, correct? I can also think of in that way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
All of us, we can think of on that way also, right? So just make a note of that as well. So well, having known this, now let's come to our discussion. Now let's say if this is my parallel line, this one, and this is another parallel line, which say this one. Okay. So could you tell me, is this distance d same everywhere or it's varying?
Same everywhere.
It is same everywhere,
Yes,
right?
same.
Okay. So now if this is same everywhere, so how do we actually get the distances? Whatever this C1 and C2 is, now these are the only two variables. So you have to just take the difference of this,
1
take a
minus C2.
positive difference, C1 minus C2, modulus of C1 minus C2 upon root over of this A and B are same. So this is going to be A square plus B square. So this will actually give us what is the distance between these two parallel lines. Simple, looks very simple.
Yes.
Okay, so now let me just see how much you know. Now tell me one more thing. If these two lines are collinear, then what is D value?
Zero.
Collinear means
Zero.
basically both the lines are same, they are overlapping on each other. In that case, what will happen to the C1 and C2? It will be same only,
They
right?
will be
C1
same.
minus C2 will be actually 0.
0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Because these are two same lines, that means C1 must be equals to C2, right? Then only it will be collinear, right? So in that case, D will be 0. So this is another way of thinking it. Okay. So now I'll just give you a quick question and tell me what is, whether find the distance of a line. Find the distance between parallel lines. Let's say x is equals to, sorry, y is equals to x plus 3, and over here, no, let me give it as this way, and let's say this is minus 4x plus 2y, and is equal to, or yeah, let me give it as something like 9. Okay. Now tell me what is the distance between these two parallel lines.
Distance.
First of all, you should check whether this is parallel or not.
It's a
Let me
parallel.
tell you.
Right?
I'll mute all first of all. So try to solve this, because you know there are some questions where actually all of us actually face difficulty in understanding what is this AB. That's why I thought to give you one question here.
Yes, they are parallel.
Lines are
Okay, they
parallel.
are parallel. Then what is the distance
Yes.
between their lines?
6 by root 5.
Okay, what is one answer?
0.
What is the answer you are telling? What is the distance between these two parallel lines?
0.
0.
0.
Square root 5.
Square root of 5.
C1
Okay.
is
Is there any other answer? 3 by, I can hear somebody whispering. 3 by
3 by 2 root 5.
3 by 2 root 5. Okay.
Yeah, 3 by 2 root 5.
Yes, sir. 3 by 2 root 5.
Okay, let's see that. So shall we discuss this now? So you see this, notice one thing. Two lines are parallel. Look at this, the notation over here. This is in general form. So we should first bring it in general form. Okay, and then we should understand
yes.
this. Okay. So now let's call this as equation 1 and let's call this as equation 2. Okay. So I'll first bring it in my general form. So how will that general form look like if I'm using 1? So using 1, so this is going to be 2x minus y plus 3 is equals to 0. Correct? It's the same thing. Just I've taken y on the other side, right? And from here, I can just simply modify and just write down as minus 4x, right? Plus 2y minus 9 is equals to 0. Or I can even say this is 4x minus 2y plus 9 is equals to 0. Can I say this also?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So I'm just rearranging it. That's it. So this is from 2 and this is from 1. So I'll just rewrite both the equations here. So I have this one equation and another is 4x minus 2y plus 9 is equals to 0. Now notice one thing. All I had to make sure was A and B are same, right? Over here A and B are same. No. So what I should do? I should make them same, right? So I should multiply here with 2. So multiply left
Yes.
hand side and right hand side by 2. So what do you get from here if you multiply with 2? So you get this 4x minus 2y
Y
plus
plus
6 is
6
equals to 0.
equal to
Now
0.
notice the coefficients are same.
Yes.
Yes.
A, so what is A? A is 4. What is
4
B?
minus
Minus
2.
2. What is my C1? 6. What is my C2? 9.
9.
9.
Right? Now then you will apply the formula. You cannot blindly apply the formula just by this equation. You have to bring it in general form and make sure this A and B coefficient A and B are same. Then only you should be able to apply the formula. Okay. So now what is the formula? C1 minus C2. So what is C1?
C1 6 minus
6.
6 minus 9
9.
upon root over of 4 square
6
plus
4 square plus minus का 2 square.
So this is going to give you what? 6 minus 3, 6 minus 9 is minus
Minus
3.
3
And modulus of minus 3 is what?
plus
3.
3
Plus 3. Root over of 4 square is nothing but 16 plus
60.
4.
this is going to be 4.
3 by 16.
Okay. So this is something I get. So 3 by root over of 20. Well, you can leave the answer here also. But just to solve it more, what we can do is I can write this in this format. So 3 by root over of 4 times 5, which I can write it as this 4 is nothing
2
but
root 5.
2 square.
2.
So
2
I can
root
write
5.
2 root 5. So
2
those
root
who
5.
told this as the answer is the right answer.
Yes.
Okay. So 3 upon 2 root 5 is the answer for this. So all of you understood this many things?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Still.
Okay, perfectly fine. Then let's go to the next concept. So now what are the next concept is? Maybe I can just go to the next slide. So over here, so as far I remember, we are left with this sectional formula. Then area of a triangle. These are the two things, and then SSE. We'll see if we can discuss SSE today or not. If not, we'll discuss tomorrow for sure. Okay. So what is the sectional formula? Basically, this is a point x1, y1. Sorry, this one point is given and this is another point is given x2, y2. Let's say there is one more point which is coming up. Now let's say there is a point called x, y. Now this point divides this line into two ratios, let's say m and n. Okay. So I'll write this area of a triangle afterwards. So now you notice this. Basically, 2 points were given to me, that is x1, y1 and x2, y2 was given. And I'm saying that there is a third point on this line which divides this line in the ratio m is to n. Okay, divides this line into the ratio m is to n. Then what is this x and y value? So what is given? This is given, this is given, m is given, n is given, and I'm asking what is the value of x and y. So you have a formula. If you have to find out x, then it is going to be, it has to be cross multiplied like this. Okay, it has to be cross multiplied. So if I'm finding x, so I'll be just dealing with x1, x2 and m and n. So what I'll be doing is x2 m into x2, it's cross multiplied. So m into x2 plus n into x1 upon whatever these ratios are, m plus n. So this will give me x. How do you get y value? Same way, m times y2 plus n times y1 upon m plus n. Okay, so now you see this. I got my x value, I got my y value. Okay, so quickly let's do a small part of this. So let's say, let me give you one question. This is my p, and this is my, let's say x1 is 1 comma 2, and this is let's say 5 comma 10. Okay, now I'm saying this point p divides, let's say this is q1 and q2. Okay, point p divides q1 and q2 equally. Or instead of equally, point p divides q1 and q2 into halves. Then what is the coordinates of point P?
X equal to 3,
What is the coordinates of P?
3, 3, 6.
3, 6. Well, we can see that. But could you tell me what is the ratios here? What am I telling is this point P divides
1,
1
1 is
into
to
2
1.
into
1 is to 1.
1 is to 1. So this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 1. So what is this P doing? This P cuts this Q1 and Q2 into 2 halves. So this is going to be into 2 halves means this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 1. Right? All of you clear?
Yes.
If this is the case, then what is my x? Now let's say this P was x comma y. So what is my x? Tell me. 5 times 1 plus or 1 times 5 maybe. So 1 times 5 plus 1 times
1 times 1.
1 times 1 upon 2. So this is going to be what? 6 by 2, which is 3. And what about y?
Yes.
1 times 10 plus 1 times 2 upon
6.
2, which is going to be what? 10 plus 2 is nothing but what? 12. 12 by 2 is
12 by 2.
so what is this
6.
point P? 3, 6. Okay? All of you okay with this?
Yes.
So you will have some of the questions like this in your activities also, like very straightforward type questions, okay? But in your practice assignment, you will have mixture of 2, 3 concepts, and then the questions will be asked. So this will be like sub part of being that question, okay? So now this was one
How
section.
M and N is 1?
How
How
M
M
and
and
N
N?
is 1. So what I was telling you was this was dividing into 2 halves. So essentially think of this as P and this is Q. Sorry. This is Q1 and this is Q2. And I told you this point P is dividing into 2 halves. So if you want to take it as a half, take it as a half only. If this is half is to half, so essentially you can write this half is to half. So if you have to simplify this further, this is nothing but 1 is to 1, isn't it?
Okay, sir.
It's just that. And that's how we get it. Or you can take half also and solve it. Even you will get it like that. But only thing is you have to do some kind of calculations. You can take as a half and also still solve it. All you have to make sure is this is same. All you have to make sure if this is 5, so this is also 5. If this is 10, then make sure this is also 10, because then only the ratio will be 1 is to 1, right?
Okay, sir. Understood.
Understood. So that's fine then. Let's quickly discuss the next concept, that is area of a triangle. So how do you get this area of a triangle? Let's say there are 3 points given to you here. Okay, so this is x1, y1, x2, y2, and this is x3, y3. Okay, so if 3 points are given, essentially you can form a triangle, right? These are the things you can do. You can actually form a triangle when 3 points are given. So then how do you actually get the area of this triangle? Okay, how do you actually get the area of a triangle? So you have the formula. So half of. So how do you actually see is x1, x2 and x3, and you have to go it in this way. Okay, think it in this way. Okay, so now first what you will do is, first let me start from here. Okay, so if I take y1, so it's basically half of, if I'm taking y1, if I take, I'm starting from here, let's say y1. So y1, then what I should do is I should be going to this. If I'm at y1, then I should be going at x2 minus x3. So basically this and this I will have to deal with. So it has to go like this. Look at this arrow. So it has to go like x2 minus x3, x2 minus x3. Okay, so it has to go in this arrow. Plus, now what is next thing? Now if I take y2, so if I'm taking, let's say this is y2, over here my y2 is, then what I should do? x3 minus x1.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
But sir, y1 into x2 minus x3. No, x1 into y2 minus y3.
Sorry.
Basically you can take anything. Like if you put in spite of like y1 you have to take the x3 in the x terms in the bracket. If you take x1 into y2 minus y3, that's also fine. It's just the formula. You can take either this way or that way.
Okay. If she's like comfortable with that, we can just take it that way. So let's say if this is my x1, then what should I do? I should be taking as y. If I'm taking x1, then I should be doing as y2 minus y3. Is this the way you want? You can get it this way too. If this is x2, then it should be what? Let's say my x2 was here, then it has to go what? y3 minus
3 minus
5.
y1.
And if you want to take it as x3,
x3.
so if my x3 is here, so it has to go x1 minus x2. Sorry,
y1.
y1 minus
y1.
y2. Okay. And then you can just simply substitute into this formula to get the area of a triangle. Okay. Now tell me, uh, when will this represents, what will be the area of a triangle when this point and this point are same? When this point and this point are same. Essentially, this point is lying here. That is what I meant. Or like not same, but it is lying on this line at this point. So basically, think of this scenario. If this is one point, this is another point. Let's say your third point is over here. What is the area of this?
Zero.
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 And
Zero.
what is this line called? This line is called what?
Collinear.
This will form a collinear line. So basically what will happen is like when 3 points are given, so you will be asked like whether these lines are collinear or not. So what you should do, you can get the area of a triangle and say that this is a same. Or other thing is also that you can do is like the easiest way I would say is find the slope of this line. So essentially, basically if these are the 3 points, right? So if I have to find out the slope of this one, if the slope of this one is m1 and slope of this is m2, look at this is representing a line. So what will happen to what is the relationship between m1 and m2?
Equal.
They are equal. So two
Slopes are
lines are
equal.
so basically if you have been given 3 points like this and you have to check whether they lie on the same line or not, all you have to do is just find the slopes. Let's
Slope
say
should be the same one.
the slope should be same. If the slope is same, they are lying on the same line. Or basically those points forms it's a part of collinear line. Okay, clear on this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so
Clear.
I think I have discussed almost all the concepts here, and what I have not discussed to you is SSE. And SSE I would like to discuss in the next class because that itself will take a lot of time. Okay, and that concept is really essential, and I think I should give some time to discuss that question. Meanwhile, you can ask me any questions if you have. We have like 2-3 minutes. We can discuss that, or like any general thing that, or any queries that you can just simply ask me here.
So, sir, in week 2,
Graded assignment, sir, 10, sir.
Sorry, graded question number 10.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the doubt you have in that? Let me just open that.
Can we discuss graded assignment?
But I'll not be telling you the answer and all, but I'll just see if there is any
Week
ambiguity.
1, sir. Week 1 question number 10.
Sir. Week 1 question number 10. So we did not provide you solutions yet, right?
Yeah.
it's there already. Solution are
Week 1
already
solution is there.
I mean, not solution. I mean, answers are already there.
Answer no, but I'm talking about the detailed solution is not provided, right?
I don't think.
We will be providing you that solution, but meanwhile, again, we can just see that what is that particular question. But we'll provide you that particular, we'll provide you solution either today or like some other day. Question number 10 here. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What doubt do you have in this? Or better, what I would say is just see the solution once. You shall be able to understand.
There was a
Why
question,
not it is?
sir, there was a question that there is a set of all set. Sir, it was explained in lecture 114, sir. Sir, which I didn't understand anything. What there was a proof that is there a set of all set?
Oh yeah, I got it. So don't worry about this. It's like a paradox, right? A Russell paradox.
Yes, a Russell paradox, sir.
So over
I
there,
didn't
it's like
understand. I want to understand what was the proof,
okay.
but I
So
was not able to.
I would suggest you to watch that video again, or like you can just see some YouTube videos. They have explained it somewhere, you can actually see that. But if you were to ask me what is Russell paradox, it's just that, a collection of all sets, right? A set which represents a collection of, basically a set which is a collection of all set, right? So it's a
Yes, sir.
paradox because the new set what you create should also be a subset of it. I mean, it should also be a part of that set, right?
Yes, sir.
If I say a set which is a collection of all set, right,
Yes,
is
sir.
a set, right? It also should be a part of that set, isn't it? That is what a paradox is. You
Yes,
understand?
sir. Yes, sir. Set which we have created should also be the part of that set.
Exactly. So
It
that's
will
the
not be
paradox.
possible anyway.
So that's
Yes,
the
I got
paradox.
the point. Yes, I got the
Yeah.
point. Yes, sir. Well, yes, sir. Yes, yes.
What about this question number 7? How many of you got it right?
Sir, yes, sir. Five answers, sir. It was somehow, sir,
Sir,
confusing. Sir.
it was
I got it
confusion
right.
because
You got
I
it
got
right?
it.
I also got
You
it
also
right,
got
sir.
it.
I also got it right.
Good. Fine. So this question was bit, you had to do some more understanding apart from like normal Venn diagram problem. Anyways, so we'll provide you solution. You can just go through that.
the confusion is between sir equivalence relationship. It is confirmed that it is transitive along with that symmetric, but the confusion is between sir equivalence relationship.
Okay, can you tell
Does
me
it-
when it is a equivalence relation? Can you tell me?
It has to be reflexive also.
Yeah, it has to be reflexive as well.
With
Yes.
transitive and symmetric.
So a relation is equivalence relation only if it is symmetric, transitive, and reflexive. If it
Yes.
is all three, then only you say it is equivalence.
I still answered this wrong.
Yes, sir. Because
Okay.
due to confusion, sir, I thought transitive and symmetric is there, so it must be reflexive as well. So in that case, what happened? The four, four options are correct, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So you
I
get
answered this
So
as
that's why
reflexive
that
and symmetric.
yeah,
okay.
that's why I ticked all the options, sir.
Oh, that's why you take the all options. Okay.
Yeah, because I see the transitive. It is confirmed that it is transitive and symmetric, right?
Yeah.
But confusion between this is reflexive. I thought if it would be like reflexive, then that all the options are correct.
Definitely, it has to be equivalence. Yes. Okay, that way. So you had that 50-50 chances then.
No 50-50, four options. If
Sir,
you
I
have
checked
picked
all,
four
sir,
options,
all. I
But two
checked
you
all
were
the
sure.
sir.
Then you had only chances is like whether if this is right, then this is certainly right. Else, if this is wrong, then this is wrong. So you have this 50% chance. But because you were sure of these two, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So we'll give you the solution, and I think it's time. We can just wind up our session now. So
Sir,
to
Sir,
all,
I had.
I want to
is
ask.
this assignment score is included in total course score?
sorry, what?
Sir, the assignment score has a value in the CGPA, which will I go get in the last of that
So
foundation.
yeah, some 10% or something. It's 10% or 5%. I think 10%. I don't know the exact thing, but I think it's given in this handbook which is provided to you. You can read that.
And
What is the
okay, sir.
policy? Yeah.
Okay.
But it has got some weightage to it, like in your intern.
From
And
this,
this is also if you are writing a qualifier, so this becomes
Necessity.
very essential criteria for you to write qualifier.
Essential criteria. Qualify for qualifying.
Okay, then I think we can wind our session now. Wind
So
up our
whatever
session.
we have discussed today we have covered whole week 2
Yeah.
except SSC.
Except SSC, yeah. I
Okay,
have covered almost everything, yes.
Thank you.
You can directly attempt, you can actually go if you are, because there are so many videos, if you are to ask me, like it's just a suggestion. You should actually watch the
Yeah,
videos.
yeah. Actually, there are so many videos. I thought, but this three. I mean, even if 2 hour video would be, fine.
So if you are to ask me if you have gone through this session, if you have seen like whatever I have told you, try solving questions directly, okay? And even if
Yeah.
you are not comfortable enough, just go with the slides what professor is telling you, just to make sure like whatever I have like I have covered everything or not. So I have covered everything. Try attempting those activity questions, and you must do these tutorial questions.
Sure.
Must do
Actually,
tutorial questions.
now going through video will be more easier. Yeah.
You can do that thing, and then if you are able to solve this practice assignment question, then yeah, it's done. Nothing more you have to do with this week 2. Because if you are to ask me, it's worth investing your time in week 1 and week 3 and week 4, I would say, because week 1 is something which will never leave you anywhere. Like it will be everywhere and it's going to come everywhere, I will tell you. Like week 1 is going to come in week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, all the weeks. Even if you go for maths too, because these are very basic, right? Like
Yeah.
relations and functions, and that is where you pick it up. So now you see this, how how we actually picked up this week 2 is, you see, we first talked about sets, we talked about relations, and then we talked about something called functions.
Mhm.
There are various types of functions, as you know. You can even say a polynomial function. Now polynomial function can be a straight line, it can be a quadratic equations or a quadratic functions altogether, right? Then you have something called exponential functions and the logarithmic function. So that's how it is. Now if you are to ask me, week 1 to 6 it's like a module, you should do like this. And then week 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9 is like a calculus part. So you can say it's like a slightly jump from this concept. So even if a very less linkage is there, so you can say that 7, 8, 9 is there like a separate module, and the next module is which is 10 and 11, which contains graph theory. Graph theory, I think you will even learn it in CT, so you have it all together. But here you will learn like more depth because it's maths. So in discrete maths, you will be learning that. So this is how it is. So if you are to ask me, there are 3 modules in mathematics 1. So week 1 to 6 is one module, week 7, 8, 9 is one module, and third is this graph theory thing. That's like 2 weeks. Okay,
We have the materials for week 2, but we don't have them for week 1.
Right. We did not provide it as such. It's just that we didn't felt the need for it, because we can actually create one, but we did not create it yet, and it's not created since many times. But hereafter you will have a tutorial videos. It's just that to give you a touch of the questions, like, because there are so many application questions
As
which
you
can come.
as you are explaining, this week 2 is relatively easier, or rather less confusing than the week 1. Because in week 1, and if you even see the questions, you know that the options, there are multiple options which seem to be correct, and we have to work out everything to understand whether it is correct or wrong.
Correct, correct.
So
You think that there should be tutorial videos for week 1 as well, is it?
yes, that's more important. Just, even if not for anything else, for the purposes that you just explained, that is going to continue with us throughout the journey.
Okay. So maybe we can look for it in the next term and we'll try to bring it, because it will take actually time for us to create this tutorial. So this is not going to happen very sooner, but definitely we'll create some separate revision videos which are specifically for week 1, which you will find it at the end. We'll provide you that also. Okay. So that will concept clear. And also, like this live session, the recorded one, right? The recorded one, you can actually glimpse through it, because I think there are some concepts which are actually covered well, so you can actually see those concepts and understand them. So I don't know how many of you have seen those the previous live session videos, which is given in the portal. You can just watch, just simply just glimpse through it and see like if you are comfortable with it. It is actually helpful, I would say. Okay, then I think we can wind our session now. Thank you all, and good day.
Yeah,
Meet you
thank you, sir.
tomorrow
Good day.
morning again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.